In 2015, the United Nations conceived the Sustainable Development Goals, really which was sort of a successor to the Millennium Development Goals. Number 2 on those goals is to end hunger. We're still quite a long way from that. Achieve food security and improve nutrition, and then again promote sustainable agriculture. Now, there's no way we're going to be able to achieve this goal number 2 without addressing the issue of post-harvest losses. That being said, it's going to require, to be able to address this problem, partners working together, all right, identifying the gaps that exist in solving this challenge of post-harvest losses, which is not really a problem globally, but specifically in Africa. Now, these partners will need to work in tandem, all right, to address and find out economic, cost-effective, and sustainable solutions that would address the challenge of post-harvest losses. Which is why we are here this morning. We have invited several of you who are key actors in the agricultural value chain here in Nigeria. Because at BASF, we do not only believe in creating, chemistry for a sustainable future. We do believe in also working with others in the markets where we operate to address the pertinent solutions or the pertinent problems that are persistent in those markets. So this morning, we are really glad and excited that you could join us as we demonstrate our commitment to putting essentially our skin in the game, to contributing our quota to addressing the challenge of post-harvest losses that will help solve and achieve the goal of ending hunger, achieving food security, and improve nutrition, as well as promoting sustainable agriculture. So you are welcome once again to our premises. Thank you very much. So with that, I'll invite the Managing Director of BASF West Africa, Dr. John McVicker, to give a short speech.
And the cold chain project is one of those projects where we realize that we have to do something about it. Alone, we can't succeed. And my role is really to try to enable any one of our people to really be that catalyst on project which not only makes perfect business sense for everybody, but also are driven by that very high sense of purpose. So we have a few. Cold chain is the most prominent. That's the one where we are deploying our resources and competencies. You'll see how collaborative we are. We really mean it. And again, that day for us is a bit more just protocolar. I think it's really the kickoff of a joint adventure. Let's see where it brings us. We are talking about a very complex topic, but I can already pulse, and that's the beauty being in Nigeria. You can measure every single day the impact that you have, and that's meaningful. So I do hope that this initiative will bring us where we want to be. We have very high ambition. I personally believe let's make a small impact and then scale up, because that's probably the best way to approach it. So once again, thanks for being here with us in what is left our office for 3 months before we relocate to mainland, and very, very happy to have you.
This is a presentation ceremony, and I mentioned earlier in my opening address that we want to demonstrate our commitment. We do not only want to talk. Like they say, action speaks louder than words. So really, one of the ways we have decided that we want to show our commitment is not only by the cold chain project that we have conceived internally, but we want to make a donation to some efforts that are being taken in the marketplace to address the challenge of post-harvest losses using a world-class cold chain. And so GAIN, that is a Global Alliance for Improved Nutrition, brought a lot of stakeholders together sometime last year to brainstorm on how we can develop a cold chain, an effective cold chain system in Nigeria. And as part of that, they conceived to carry out a cold chain mapping of Nigeria so as to identify the capacity that is present in the country. Now really, you'll not be able to design any solution if you do not know where exactly you are, which is why we believe that this is a really very good step, a good first step to be able to solve the problem of a lack of cold chain here in Nigeria. So this morning we want to make a donation to this cold chain mapping project, and it's my pleasure to now invite the project manager of GAIN, Dr. Augustine Okorua, and also our MD, Dr. John Mark, for the presentation ceremony.
Modest, but at least it's, I think, at the right time of the project for the right topic. On top of everything else, we will bring to you our competencies, our expertise, our knowledge whenever you need it. That's my commitment on top of supporting you financially.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, and I think I'm excited because this is walking the talk. When we had our co-chair conference and we convened this meeting with the good assistance of NABG for the coaching component to move forward, we met, we discussed, and later the BASF have been sharing with us their knowledge and expertise along the line when we started with Dr. Akintayo and linking with Vitapor and some other related. So when he promised that BASF was going to support the coaching mapping, it was like as usual we say, are they just saying it? So, and I asked Andrew, and graciously, he had just actually sent in a letter of commitment. We had our BOT meeting in November. He made a promise there, followed up with a letter of commitment. And here we are, actualizing. I think first and foremost, it deserves some. And that's exactly how the Post-Harvest Loss Alliance for Nutrition project operates. This is not just like any other project. We design our activities to perform. If we have activities, say this is what we're going to do, we actually follow up on, and then we do it. We made a promise we're going to get together and form an association, or a coaching development association. And as I'm talking to you now, we have an interim BOT, and we have a name approved by the CAC, Organization for Technology Advancement of Coaching in West Africa. So we didn't want to limit it to Nigeria, because we believe Nigeria will be a hub for West Africa region for coaching development. And so we'll be formalizing the registration with CAC. And as part of our commitment of the membership, 1, 2, 3, 3 of the interim BOT members are here for this ceremony. And 3 are here physically, plus myself, 4. So I want to say that the Post-Harvest Loss Alliance for Nutrition project technically is actually aimed at bringing together all stakeholders, because we do recognize that there's no one organization that can actually fully deal with post-harvest losses. So that is why the alliance comprises research, academia, regulatory agencies, the private sector. And then we now have 2 key activities, which is alliance building for networking and the business-to-business engine. And that is where we need BASF, the business-to-business engine platform, and which is what you're already doing. So this is just a tip of the iceberg. Just 13 local governments. We're doing the mapping in 13 local governments of Lagos State for now. And we believe that just the findings of this can be used to do a proposal for a larger, either a regional coaching mapping or a national coaching mapping. And so we'll be actually depending on BASF, Nigeria, and global otherwise for that technical support in that regard. So we had 13 respondents to the RFP we made. We selected Ashley Baker Nigeria Limited to execute this project in Lagos. And the CEO is represented here, Mr. Femi Odujuko. So they're the one helping us with the coaching capacity mapping. So I want to thank everyone, and I thank BASF again. That is a privilege to work with you, a global company. As a food technologist, I know your support for packaging and the rest to make sure that the food is safe and lasts longer. So your chemistry technology, your chemistry advancements are also very profitable for the packaging industry, vis-a-vis the coaching that you are already embedded in for delivery of sustainable food system for Nigeria, West Africa, and globally. Thank you very much.
So next on the agenda, as Dr. Okorua said, GAIN appointed Ashley Baker to carry out the coaching mapping. and they are here represented by Mr. Femi. So I'd invite him now to come and make a few comments and probably give us an update on the status of the mapping.
Thank you very much. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
My name is Femi Obijoko, and I represent Ashley Baker, Nigeria Limited. And we are pleased that we were appointed to be the preferred company to undertake this cold chain capacity mapping, starting with 13 local governments in Lagos. And we're also delighted that we're getting support from BASF, from GAIN, from some members of that association that has been formed, because immediately we had that award ceremony, we initiated the process of acquiring data. Mapping is an intense activity, and just like the cold chain capacity business cannot be done by just one player alone. The mapping cannot be done by one player alone as well. So we needed to, touch base with different parties. BASF gave us some of their clients. GAIN gave us some of their some of the businesses they had been involved with. Mr. Alex here was very gracious. Yeah, Mr. Alex Nison. He has been very supportive. He pointed us in the direction of another association. And, the project covers locations, capacity of cold chain owners and operators, cold chain logistics service providers, cold chain equipment manufacturers like BASF, then cold chain experts, people that have the expert in managing, in building, in maintenance of cold chain equipment. And I would say that within the period that we've started the project till now, even though I knew next to nothing about the cold chain business, I have learned so much. I've learned so much. And apart from the fact that you are carrying out the mapping, you need to also learn, to have that knowledge of what it is you want to map. And just to give you a brief of the progress we've made so far and some of the challenges that we discovered. First, we got the project towards the end of the year. So the end of the year and the beginning of this year afforded us time to plan and strategize. And by the second week of the year, we were ready. We had set up the cloud infrastructure through which data would be captured and analyzed. We had built a mobile app on Android platform for each of the field data collection officers to collect the data. We had divided the region into that coverage area into 4 regions, because it was very difficult for you to approach the 13 local governments and meet with your team at once. So we divided the area into 4 regions. We appointed supervisors across the regions, and we put out word for people to join the team. We got people in, we trained them, we orientated them. Of course, one of the key requirements for you to be a member is to have a smartphone that has GPS. So we set up the apps on their phone. We do the test run. We see that everything is working well. I don't want to bore you with the technicalities, but from data capture, we are able to know that yes, each officer gets to the point where we want via the GPS. Then you also take a picture that is geotagged. So there are 2 ways that we can know that you're not just sitting in your house telling us that you're capturing data, you're actually out there in the field. Then, like I said, everything is sent through the online infrastructure that we set up. for the project. So at the back end, we can actually see without, the supervisors can see without leaving the office all the activities about data collection from the different 13 local governments as they are being captured. So we've been doing that, and we're still on the field. As I speak now, we're on the field. Personally, I've had to go out to have a first-hand experience of some of the challenges, and I'll just mention about 4. One is that we found out that probably due to the lack of publicity that needed to come with a project of this magnitude, most people are not very informed about it. The public is not very informed about it. And I've taken that to the senior project manager. Next time we need to put out enough word out there using all the mass media channels that is available. We're doing a project that is going to be beneficial to Nigeria and Nigerians as a whole. So they must know and be prepared so that when they see a team that is coming to acquire data, it's easier for them to connect easily and release the data. Then the second thing is that we discovered that for whatever reason, some people just don't want to give data. They say fear of the fact that we were sent by the government to discover them. Fear that the government wants to close down people that are operating cold rooms, that they're importing food illegally. Of course, somebody just mentioned tax now. Yes. Hey. So people are scared about tax. And we also discovered that some of the operators don't even have enough knowledge about what they are doing. So it's difficult for us to interact with them and extract it. That's why I said that on my own, I've had to build knowledge to be able to educate them and help them to get the information that we actually need. Then we also discovered that some people just don't want you to capture any data about their coaching facility. You are seeing a coaching facility physically, and they'll tell you they don't have, and they'll tell you, go, we don't want to see you, we don't want on our premises and all that. And so we have that challenges, and there are some that they'll tell you, this is just an outlet, we're not authorized to release information, you need to go through our head office. And there was a very particular one, I won't mention the name. We wrote them officially that we needed the data. We even sent them the template that contains all the fields that we want to collect, and they still did not. Again, gave us an intro letter that that intelligently highlights what we're doing and what everybody stands to benefit from it, but they still refused to give us audience. And we found that very, very strange. Before now I was discussing with Andrew, and that I found it touched me. I found that very strange. And if I mention the name of the outlet, everybody knows. You say, why? But that is the way it is. And finally, I just want to say that what we also discovered was that it was the first time that a project of this magnitude was being conducted. So there's always that kind of reaction that comes with the first time, and it's also going to help us to pick out lessons that will be learned, and approaches and solutions that we can use to surmount those challenges. And the next time we're having this type of opportunity to do this type of activity, we know that we've done much more better, and we believe that the approach we adopt will be better than the ones we adopted now, and the response and the results and the outcomes will be far, far better and more beneficial. Thank you once again.
Just before Mr. Ijori makes his speech, we have a representative, the General Secretary, or the Acting General Secretary actually, from the recently established Cold Chain Association of West Africa. Mr. Alexander Isong, and I'd like him to also make a few words on behalf of the organization.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Mr. Alexander Isong. I'm acting. I'm still acting.
Yes, I'm also acting. Not yet confirmed.
Acting. The board of an association, a budding association that is new, indigenous to Nigeria and West Africa. It's an association that like-minded people and stakeholders in the country have come together to try to stand. And we know it's not easy starting something new. We're not trying to invent the wheel here, because the wheel has already been invented outside. We're just trying to bring the wheel here and attach Nigerian tubes to it and run with it. So we have been trying to set up through our own initiative, and we're very happy that an organization like yours, which is a multinational, has been able to support GAIN, GAIN being an NGO that is trying to stand cold chain in Nigeria, which is invariably helping us stand our budding cold chain association, which is going to now help the small SMEs and businesses that will run this backbone and this chain of cold chain from farm gate to market to your table when you eat whatever we bring. So organizations like yours should be able to step in and help us any which way you can, and spread the word to organizations like yours too, to say, okay, there's this budding association that needs to stand to help the little businesses that are coming up, and even the big ones. Because if you look at cold chain holistically, you look at it's from the mommy and daddy business to big multinationals like BASF. So it involves all of us. So I'm hoping and I'm expecting that you should be able to help us. Mr. Jerry, who is like a mentor stroke slash BOT member slash my leader slash my uncle slash everything. He has been very instrumental to this, and he has brought his wealth of experience to bear on this. Mr. Alexuma, he knows how to package everything. So he's going to keep on packaging us. And Dr. Korua has been very, very instrumental in pushing this. And I hope that he gets an MON, which I'm working on.
Amen.
which I'm working on. So we hope you will help us, push us forward. As I'm acting interim, I know that the solution, we are doing all this, this is the business end. But I know that the solution to most of our problem is going to be through government and through policies of government, through legislation, through laws and things like that. So as we are moving forward, I hope to infest my fellow BOT members with the idea that it's going to be politics, politics, politics. Once we get that out right, every other thing is there. So thank you very much.
Last but not least is one gentleman I'm glad I've come to know since I started working on this project, Mr. Ijiberi. I love his passion, drive, ambition and energy for all things agriculture in Nigeria. And it's my pleasure now to welcome Mr. Emmanuel Ijiberi to give us a few comments.
Thank you very much. I wish to thank BASF. I have to find out what BASF stands for. I've heard of them in Nigeria, but the past 4 or 5 years, my relationship with them has become a lot more intensive. And this is a very interesting development. I thank you very much for this support. And I also thank Dr. Korua of Gaines for the kind of tenacity they've adopted in this. And I congratulate Ashley Baker for winning this. You are a pioneer in this, and you will end up finding yourself in a situation where you will be find yourself where you're asking a Tuareg about snow, right? A Tuareg, those that who live in the fringes of the desert, in heat and so on. And you want to talk about snow to him, he really wouldn't understand what you're saying. In the same manner, if you go to Lagos State, anywhere in Nigeria, and talk about cold chain, what they don't have, they don't know. So that's why I said you got to adopt the right approach. Now, having said that, I need to now introduce the fact that every time I appear in a situation like this, I wear two caps. The first cap gave me the right to be in the second cap. The first cap is that of Best Foods. We started this in about 22 years ago, when nobody talked about agriculture. Agriculture was, in fact, it was synonymous with poverty. We're still here. Thank God things are changing. But somewhere along the line, the government decided to set up an umbrella body to handle agriculture. Who is this? How did it come about? The immediate past president of Nigeria set up an eminent persons group, chaired by Kofi Annan, and then the other members were Bill Gates of Bill Gates Foundation, Kabaruka, who was then the president of the Local Development Bank. You had the man who owns Del Monte, the biggest soft drink plant, or rather the juice plant in America, and you had Mwanzi. That group said, unless Nigeria has an umbrella body that handles agriculture in a holistic fashion, rather than the cassava people talking their own, the palm oil people talking their own, groundnut people talking their own, let everybody come under one roof. They will continue as individuals. So that would be like the United Nations. That's where our NABD was founded by the immediate past Minister of Agriculture. And that's what we have been trying to do. What have we done so far? The first thing that he pleaded with us for to take as the first priority was rice. We took that on when he was in office, and we started the battle. Fortunately, we're making very good progress there, in the sense that we hope that by the end of this year or by next year, there will be no reason for us to import any rice into Nigeria. Now, a lot of work went into that, but the experience we got there put us in a very good state to go to the next one, which is more delicate and more relevant to what we're doing here. What we are now pursuing in 2018 is tomato. Tomato is extremely vulnerable, destructible, in great demand, and so on. It's a bigger challenge than rice. And bringing in a body like BASF, bringing in gains, is in fact will boost all the efforts we are putting in to make sure that 2018 is a turning point. But in doing that, we've done a lot of work already with the various meetings we have held and the groupings we have put together. We want to make this year the year that they can start seeing changes in their lives. There are about 47 million farmers who farm tomato every year. We are going through the season now. I'm off to Gombe, I think, in 2 days' time. We've taken Gombe as a state to use. And the things that we intend to look at is to start from the farmers. I happen to have gone to Gombe early last year, and I spent 2 nights with a family in the village, and I saw firsthand what life really is, and changed my entire perception. And that's a message that we'll continue to tell people. When we talk about them, we don't know them. We don't know what they go through. I mean, children who have schools, who are far away. I mean, the family I stayed with, Radi Sanusi had 2 wives, and he had 8 children. But only 2 or 3 of them go to school on a Monday. On Tuesday, another 2 or 3 will go, and the others will help in the farm. Why? The school is about 15 kilometers away. The children have to walk. So he cannot put his children on the road every day. These are the realities we have. So when we talk about farmers, let's talk about them as human beings who we try to know and understand. So what we are now trying to do is looking for those things that will help them. Only 1% of farmers in tomato in Nigeria use hybrid seed. In other words, they take last year's tomato, dry it, take the seed from there, plant it. Their yield is about 4 to 5 metric tons per hectare. Buy hybrid seed, your yield will go to about 15 or 20 metric tons per hectare. It makes a world of difference. Just that small thing. But they can't afford it. The hybrid seed is somewhere around 45 to 50,000 naira for a for a hectare. That 45,000 naira, they can't afford it. But if they were to invest 45,000 naira, they will get back at least 1 million naira on that 45,000 naira. That is the reality we now have to face and help them to understand. And they understand, but they are helpless. And one of the reasons why they also lose even the little they produce is because from the farm, they start losing. And a number of middlemen go there to help them increase their losses by taking advantage of them. And that's one of the things that we're doing. Like the reason why I'm going to Gombe, as an example, is the fact that the Commissioner of Agriculture of Gombe State, Alhaji Biri, has requested us to come and sign an MOU. So all the tomato in Gombe will guarantee we buy it all. And we agree the price, we're going to negotiate the price. But in doing it, we have challenges. We will need to have places where we hold the tomato for about 24 or 48 hours, which will be cold room. That will bring down the temperature. And it's important for us to consider the issue of pre-cooling. The moment they come out of the farm, you should be able to cool them down. The technology is not very complex. We try to do that as well. But in going to Gombe, as an example, we have a situation where under the Anchor Borrower Scheme, we want to try to make a difference to the farmers in Gombe. If we succeed, the next one is Katsina. Katsina is going to come up next season. Tomatoes are going to start coming out in great quantity from 3 weeks' time. Even now, the tomato that was selling in November per basket, I still use that as a yardstick, per basket for about 16 to 20,000. Today, at mile 12, was 3,000 naira. And we estimate that in another 2 weeks, it will come down to about 2,500. Now, the volatility is not good for anybody in any business. Let me also tell you that something has happened that has made it more difficult for us this year. We now have 3 factories, 2 of them fully ready, 1 of them in the process of construction that will take tomato. The Dangote factory was supposed to start operations in February last year. The 1,200 metric tons per day. Best Foods, we're in the other cap now. Best Foods has a contract to give them 200, just 200 metric tons per day. We've not been able to give them one single tomato. The reason for that is the price volatility. So we now embarked on a program with Kano State, Kaduna State, and now it's very likely we'll move on to the other ones. So we're now putting those together to put these up. So what do we need to do? We need to have cold rooms, or not the cold rooms, cold aggregation centers in each of these places. Number 2, if you are able to get aggregation centers, cool them down, we don't need refrigerated vehicles to move them, but use crates to move them. Those are the things we need to do for this year. And next year, we are going on to maize, because maize has a challenge of armyworms that have destroyed, last year destroyed about 35% of the maize we have. All these ones have impact on the poverty of these people. So I am very, very grateful to BASF. I'm grateful to Gaines, and I'm particularly grateful too to our packaging officer, because your time has now come, please, to bring those things that are practical and cheap for the farmers to use. On that note, I thank you all for giving me the privilege to talk to you this morning. Thank you.
So that really is the end of this presentation ceremony. Our purpose as a company, the world's leading global chemical company, I must add, is to create chemistry for a sustainable future. I want to believe that we have all seen how by working together we can create chemistry not only in the products that we manufacture and produce, but even in the partners that we work with, by having a shared vision, shared agenda, shared objective for you to address society's challenges and society's needs. So on my behalf and on behalf of the company, on behalf of our managing director, let me also thank you, Dr. John Mark, for creating the platform for us to be able to address this problem here in Nigeria. I believe that the solutions that we find and are able to propose and address here in Nigeria should be able to be scaled across the African continent, all right, in the years to come. So thank you once again, Dr. John Mark. And with that, let me thank you all for making time to be here with us. We really appreciate that you've been able to join us.